Have you ever wondered what it would be like to walk through the pages of history? To step into a land where ancient civilizations thrived, where empires rose and fell, and where the spirit of humanity refuses to be forgotten? Welcome to Syria, a land of timeless beauty, hidden stories, and extraordinary resilience. From the majestic ruins of Palmyra to the bustling streets of Damascus, Syria is more than a destination. It is a journey through human achievement, culture, and endurance that spans thousands of years. In this documentary, we will uncover Syria's most amazing places and hidden gems, exploring every corner from historic citadels and sacred mosques to breathtaking landscapes that have shaped civilizations. You'll witness a country that has survived the tests of time, a place where every stone, every melody, and every tradition tells a story of courage, creativity, and hope. So, stay with us as we reveal the wonders of Syria, a land where history is alive, culture thrives, and every step takes you closer to understanding the profound legacy of one of the world's most extraordinary civilizations. Syria, as one of the world's oldest living civilizations, focus on Syria's ancient roots, timeless landscapes, and the emotional contrast between history, resilience, and beauty. Open with a gripping hook about time, memory, and a land that has witnessed thousands of years of human civilization. Before the world had borders, before maps had names, there was a land where humanity learned how to live, trade, pray, and dream. A land where footsteps echo across thousands of years, and every stone carries a memory. This is Syria, not as you've seen it in headlines, but as it has always existed, ancient, resilient, and breathtakingly alive. In this journey, we step beyond time itself, into one of the greatest cradles of civilization ever known. Syria is not just a country, it is a living archive of human history. Long before modern nations existed, this land was already thriving with cities, cultures, and ideas that shaped the world. Here, civilizations rose and fell, empires crossed paths, and humanity wrote some of its earliest chapters. To understand Syria is to understand where we come from. From fertile river valleys to endless deserts, Syria's geography made it a natural meeting point of the ancient world. Merchants traveled its routes, carrying silk, spices, gold, and knowledge. Ideas flowed just as freely as goods, languages, religions, science, and art blending together over centuries. Syria became a bridge between east and west, north and south, past and future. As you move through this land, history doesn't feel distant. It surrounds you. Beneath modern streets lie ancient foundations. Beneath simple homes rest stories older than recorded time. Syria's cities were already old when Rome was young. Its traditions were alive before many civilizations even began. The soul of Syria lives in its layers. Each era built upon the last. Assyrian, Greek, Roman, Byzantine, Islamic, Ottoman. Not erasing history, but adding to it. Mosques rise beside churches. Roman columns stand near medieval walls. The past and present coexist in a way few places on earth can match. But Syria is not only about monuments and ruins. It is about endurance. This land has faced invasion, destruction, and hardship countless times throughout history. Yeah, again and again, it has endured. Its people rebuilt. Its culture survived. Its identity remained unbroken. Syria teaches us that civilizations are not destroyed as long as memory lives. The Syrian landscape mirrors this strength. Vast deserts stretch endlessly beneath burning suns, while fertile plains bloom with life. Mountains protect ancient villages. Rivers carve paths through time, sustaining generations. Every environment shaped how people lived, worked, and believed, creating a culture deeply connected to the land. Hospitality is at the heart of Syrian life. For centuries, travelers found refuge here, welcomed with food, stories, and warmth. Sharing bread became sacred. Conversation became tradition. Community became survival. These values were passed down not through books, but through daily life. Even today, Syria's identity cannot be reduced to a single moment in time. It is ancient and modern, fragile and powerful, scarred and beautiful. Its story is complex, layered, and deeply human. To witness Syria is to see humanity's reflection, our creativity, our mistakes, our resilience, and our hope. As this journey begins, remember this: Syria is not frozen in the past. It is alive in memory, culture, and spirit. Every city we explore, every stone we pass, every story we uncover is a reminder that history is not something behind us, it is something we carry forward. This is the beginning of a journey through time, resilience, and wonder. This is Syria, where the world began, and where its story still continues. Damascus, one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities on Earth. Explore its ancient streets, Umayyad Mosque, old souks, courtyards, and the deep spiritual and cultural heartbeat of the city. Emphasize continuity, faith, craftsmanship, and daily life, shaped by centuries of history. If cities could speak, the cities of Syria would tell stories older than memory itself. Stories of kings and merchants, scholars and pilgrims, builders and dreamers. In this chapter, we step into the ancient urban heart of Syria, places where civilization learned how to organize life, power, and culture. Long before skyscrapers and modern capitals, Syria was home to some of the world's first great cities. Among them stands Damascus, often called the oldest continuously inhabited city on Earth. For thousands of years, people have lived, worked, prayed, and traded here without interruption. Every generation added its layer, creating a city that feels less built and more grown over time. Walking through Damascus is like walking through history itself. Narrow alleys twist beneath stone arches, worn smooth by countless footsteps. Ancient walls still trace the city's earliest defenses. Markets pulse with life, much as they did centuries ago. Voices calling out, goods changing hands, traditions continuing without pause. This is not a museum city, it is a living one. Far to the north once stood Aleppo, another titan of ancient urban life. Positioned along key trade routes, Aleppo became a vital hub connecting Asia, Europe, and Africa. Its legendary citadel rose above the city like a guardian, witnessing the rise and fall of empires. Traders arrived from distant lands, bringing languages, beliefs, and ideas that shaped Aleppo into a true crossroads of civilization. Aleppo's old city was a maze of purpose. Every street had meaning. Every structure served a role in trade, defense, faith, or community. Massive souks stretched for kilometers, forming one of the largest, covered markets in the ancient world. These were not just places to buy and sell, but centers of social life, negotiation, and cultural exchange. Even older still was Ebla, a city that thrived over 4,000 years ago. When archaeologists uncovered its ruins, they found thousands of clay tablets, records of laws, trade agreements, and diplomacy. These tablets revealed a sophisticated society with organized governance, education, and international relations. Ebla proved that Syria was not only ancient, but advanced beyond its time. Cities like Mari flourished along the Euphrates River, using water as a lifeline for agriculture and commerce. Palaces in Mari were not merely residences, but centers of administration, art, and planning. Wall paintings and archives revealed how rulers governed complex societies and managed relationships across vast distances. What made Syrian cities extraordinary was their adaptability. When one empire collapsed, another rose, but the cities endured. Romans expanded them. Byzantines fortified them. Islamic dynasties transformed them. Ottoman rulers reshaped them. Each era respected what came before while leaving its own mark. Religion also shaped urban life. Temples became churches. Churches became mosques. Sacred spaces evolved without losing their spiritual gravity. The Umayyad Mosque in Damascus stands as one of the most powerful symbols of this continuity, a place where layers of faith coexist within the same walls. These cities were not isolated. They were connected by roads, rivers, and trade routes that tied Syria to the wider world. Silk from the east, glass from the Mediterranean, spices from the south all passed through Syrian cities, enriching them culturally and economically. Yet, what truly defined these cities was their people. Generations lived and died within the same streets, passing down knowledge through craft, storytelling, and daily practice. City life became a shared inheritance, shaped by memory and belonging. To understand Syria's ancient cities is to understand humanity's early ambition, our desire to gather, build, trade, govern, and create meaning together. These cities were not accidents. They were the result of vision, cooperation, and resilience. As we leave these ancient streets behind, one truth becomes clear. Syria did not simply witness civilization, it helped create it. And in its cities, that creation still breathes. Aleppo and the legacy of trade, architecture, and resilience. Focus on the citadel of Aleppo, historic markets, stone architecture, and the city's role as a crossroads of cultures. Highlight survival, rebuilding, and the enduring soul of the city. Imagine a land where stone remembers prayers, where walls have absorbed centuries of hope, fear, devotion, and survival. In this chapter, we journey into Syria's sacred landscapes, places where faith, history, and humanity have intertwined for thousands of years, shaping not only a nation, but the spiritual map of the world. Syria has long been a meeting point of religions. Long before borders and modern identities, this land was already sacred. Ancient belief systems gave way to Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, each leaving indelible marks across mountains, deserts, and cities. Few places on earth carry such a deep and continuous spiritual legacy. In Damascus stands the Umayyad Mosque, one of the oldest and most revered Islamic sites in the world. But its story begins even earlier. Before it was a mosque, it was a Christian basilica. Before that, a Roman temple. And before that, a place of ancient worship. Its walls do not belong to one faith alone, they belong to time itself. Inside, quiet footsteps echo across marble floors as worshippers and visitors alike feel the weight of centuries above them. Just a short distance away lies a small shrine, believed by many to house the head of John the Baptist, revered in both Christianity and Islam. This shared reverence speaks to Syria's unique spiritual character, where faiths have overlapped rather than erased one another. Travel north, and the landscape shifts to reveal ancient Christian monasteries carved into cliffs and hidden among valleys. Ma'alula, one of the oldest Christian towns in the world, still echoes with the Aramaic language, the language spoken by Jesus. Here, prayers rise in words older than modern civilization, carried through narrow streets that seem frozen in time. Monasteries like Mar Sarkis and Mar Takla cling to rock faces, their stone walls blending seamlessly into the mountains. These were not built for beauty alone, but for refuge and devotion. Monks and nuns sought silence, isolation, and closeness to God, believing that spiritual clarity could be found far from the noise of the world. Islamic heritage extends far beyond mosques. Shrines, madrasas, and ancient libraries once made Syrian cities centers of learning and philosophy. Scholars gathered in Damascus and Aleppo to study mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and theology. Faith and knowledge walked hand in hand, fueling a golden age of intellectual exploration. In the deserts of Syria, sacredness takes a different form. Isolated ruins and forgotten temples stand beneath endless skies, reminding us that belief once reached even the most remote corners of the land. These places may no longer echo with voices, but they still command reverence through silence alone. What makes Syria's sacred sites extraordinary is not only their age, but their continuity. These are not abandoned relics. Many remain active places of worship, where modern believers pray beneath ancient domes, continuing traditions passed down through generations. Faith in Syria has always been woven into daily life. It shaped architecture, art, law, and social structure. Even in times of hardship, these sacred spaces offered hope, grounding people in something larger than themselves. As we move through these holy places, one truth becomes clear. Syria is not just a land of ruins and monuments. It is a land of belief lived, practiced, and preserved across millennia. Here, spirituality is not confined to the past. It breathes in the present. Palmyra, the legendary city of the desert, explore its ruins, colonnades, temples, and role in ancient global trade. Emphasize the majesty of the desert, the fusion of Roman and Eastern cultures, and the emotional weight of history standing against time. What if the land beneath your feet could tell the story of civilization itself? In this chapter, we explore Syria's natural landscapes, powerful, unforgiving, and life-giving terrains that shaped empires, determined survival, and silently witnessed the rise and fall of human history. Syria's geography is not merely a backdrop to history. It is the reason history happened here. Positioned between continents, bordered by deserts and seas, crossed by rivers and trade routes. This land became a natural bridge between worlds. Every mountain, river, and plain played a role in shaping how people lived, traveled, fought, and dreamed. The Syrian desert dominates much of the country, vast, harsh, and seemingly endless. At first glance, it appears lifeless, but this desert was never empty. Ancient caravan routes cut through its sands, connecting Mesopotamia with the Mediterranean. Traders crossed these lands with silk, spices, incense, and knowledge, turning Syria into a heartbeat of global exchange long before the modern world existed. Oases emerged like miracles within this arid expanse. Palmyra, rising from the desert like a vision, survived because of water, strategy, and resilience. Palm groves and underground springs transformed isolation into opportunity. Nature dictated settlement, and humans learned to adapt or vanish. In sharp contrast to the desert stand Syria's fertile plains. The Euphrates River, one of the most important rivers in human history, flows through eastern Syria, nourishing farmland that supported some of the earliest agricultural communities on Earth. Here, people learned to cultivate crops, domesticate animals, and build permanent settlements. Civilization took root where water met soil. The river was more than a source of life. It was a highway. Boats carried goods, ideas, and culture downstream. Villages grew into towns, towns into cities. Empires rose because rivers allowed food surplus, trade, and stability. Without these waters, history would have followed a different path. Moving westward, the land transforms again. Rolling hills and fertile valleys lead toward the Mediterranean coast, where mild climates and sea access shaped entirely different lifestyles. Coastal regions connected Syria to maritime trade networks, linking it to Greece, Rome, and beyond. Here, the rhythm of life followed tides rather than caravans. Towering above these regions are Syria's mountain ranges. The anti-Lebanon mountains form natural borders and offered protection to communities seeking refuge. Villages clung to slopes, isolated yet resilient. Mountains provided timber, stone, and strategic advantage, but also isolation that preserved language, faith, and tradition for centuries. Nature also shaped defense. Cities were built on hills, rivers acted as natural barriers, and deserts protected borders. Geography became strategy, determining where fortresses rose and where armies marched. But nature was not always kind. Droughts tested survival, earthquakes reshaped cities, floods destroyed harvests. Syrian history is filled with moments where nature reminded humanity of its power. Yet again and again, people rebuilt, adapted, and endured. What makes Syria's landscapes extraordinary is their diversity within a relatively small space. Few places on Earth contain deserts, rivers, mountains, coastlines, and fertile plains so closely woven together. This diversity created cultural richness, different lifestyles, foods, architectures, and traditions shaped by the land itself. Even today, these landscapes hold deep meaning. Farmers follow ancient irrigation patterns. Nomadic traditions echo in desert regions. Mountain villages preserve ways of life unchanged for generations. The land continues to guide human rhythm. As the sun sets over desert dunes and rivers reflect the sky, one realization becomes clear. Syria's story cannot be told without its landscapes. Nature was the first architect, the first ruler, and the silent witness to everything that followed. Crac des Chevaliers and Syria's medieval fortresses focus on crusader castles, mountain landscapes, strategic locations, and architectural brilliance. Highlight how stone, landscape, and history merge into symbols of power and endurance. What if the stones beneath your feet could speak not in whispers, but in thunderous echoes of faith, conquest, devotion, and survival? In this chapter, we journey into Syria's sacred spaces, where religion, culture, and history merge to shape human identity for thousands of years. Syria is one of the world's most spiritually layered lands. Long before borders, flags, or modern nations, this region was a crossroads of belief. Pagan temples, ancient synagogues, early Christian churches, and grand Islamic mosques did not replace one another. Overnight, they coexisted, overlapped, and sometimes even shared walls. Few places on earth reveal the evolution of faith as clearly as Syria. In ancient times, spirituality was inseparable from nature. Temples were aligned with the sun, the stars, and the seasons. At sites like Ebla and Ugarit, rituals honored gods of fertility, storms, and the cosmos. These early belief systems shaped myths that later influenced religions far beyond Syria's borders. Concepts of creation, sacrifice, and divine order traveled outward from this land into the wider world. As monotheistic faiths emerged, Syria became a pivotal stage. Judaism left its mark through ancient communities and sacred texts tied to the region. Synagogues flourished in cities where trade and scholarship thrived, making Syria a center of learning and interpretation. Christianity then spread rapidly across Syrian lands. Some of the earliest Christian communities in history formed here, long before the faith reached Europe. The city of Antioch became one of Christianity's most important centers, where followers were first called Christians. Stone churches rose across valleys and mountains, many carved directly into rock, blending faith with landscape. Monasteries became places of silence, reflection, and knowledge. Monks copied manuscripts, preserved philosophy, and developed early theological thought. In remote mountain regions, Christian communities survived for centuries, protected by geography and devotion. Some villages still speak Aramaic, the language believed to have been spoken by Jesus, a living link to ancient times. Islam arrived in the 7th century, not as a force that erased the past, but as one that absorbed and reshaped it. Damascus became the capital of the Umayyad Caliphate, transforming the city into the heart of a vast empire stretching across continents. At its center rose the Umayyad Mosque, one of the most important religious structures in the Islamic world. This mosque stands as a symbol of coexistence and continuity. Built on the site of a Roman temple and later a Christian basilica, it embodies layers of belief within a single sacred space. Inside, Islamic art, Christian history, and ancient architecture exist side by side, reminding visitors that faith evolves without forgetting. Pilgrimage routes cross Syria for centuries. Travelers move between Mecca, Jerusalem, Anatolia, and Persia, carrying not only devotion but ideas, art, and knowledge. Inns, markets, and cities flourished along these paths, turning spirituality into cultural exchange. Sufi traditions added another dimension. Poetry, music, and mysticism infused faith with emotion and introspection. Shrines dedicated to saints became places of healing and hope, visited by people of different beliefs seeking blessings rather than division. Yet Syria's spiritual history was not always peaceful. Conflicts over belief shaped wars, conquests, and rivalries. Crusaders marched through these lands, leaving behind castles and scars. But even during times of violence, sacred spaces endured, rebuilt again and again by hands driven by faith. What makes Syria extraordinary is not just the number of holy sites, but their continuity. Worship never truly stopped here. Prayers changed language, direction, and form, but devotion remained constant. The land absorbed every belief without losing its soul. Even today, the call to prayer echoes near ancient churches, and sacred traditions persist despite hardship. Faith remains woven into daily life, not as a monument to the past, but as a living presence. The dead cities of northern Syria. Explore abandoned Byzantine villages, churches, stone homes, and silent landscapes. Emphasize mystery, forgotten lives, and how prosperity once flourished and quietly faded, leaving history frozen in stone. What if beauty could survive centuries of conquest, earthquakes, and time itself, not by hiding, but by standing tall in stone, color, and design? In this chapter, we uncover Syria's artistic and architectural legacy, a legacy so rich that it shaped the visual language of civilizations far beyond its borders. Syria's architecture is not defined by one empire or one era. It is a layered masterpiece, where every generation built upon what came before. Stone, blocks were reused, arches were reimagined, and styles blended into something uniquely Syrian. Here, architecture became a dialogue between cultures, rather than a declaration of dominance. The earliest Syrian cities reveal remarkable urban planning, Streets followed geometric patterns, drainage systems were carefully designed, and public spaces reflected social order. Cities like Mari and Ebla demonstrated advanced architectural thinking thousands of years ago, proving that beauty and function were inseparable even in ancient times. Roman influence left an unmistakable mark. Colonnaded streets stretched toward the horizon, theaters rose with perfect acoustics, and triumphal arches celebrated power and order. Yet, Syrian builders adapted Roman designs to local needs, using regional stone, adjusting proportions for climate, and blending classical symmetry with Eastern ornamentation. The result was not imitation, but transformation. Palmyra stands as a breathtaking example of this fusion. Its temples, towers, and avenues combined Greco-Roman structure with Near Eastern spirit. Decorative reliefs told stories of merchants, gods, and daily life. Even in ruins, Palmyra speaks of wealth, ambition, and artistic confidence that rivaled Rome itself. As Christianity spread, architecture shifted inward. Churches emphasized spiritual experience over grandeur. Stone basilicas emerged in northern Syria, forming what historians call the dead cities. These villages were once thriving, centers of faith and trade, filled with homes, churches, and marketplaces. Their preserved ruins offer a frozen moment in time, a civilization paused, not erased. Islamic architecture later reshaped Syrian skylines with elegance and meaning. Mosques introduced courtyards, domes, and minarets that guided both prayer and community life. Decorative calligraphy replaced figurative art, transforming sacred words into visual beauty. Geometry became devotion. Repetition became meditation. The Umayyad period marked a golden age of artistic expression. Mosaics shimmered with gold and glass, depicting rivers, gardens, and paradise-like landscapes. These designs avoided human figures, yet conveyed life and abundance through nature, a powerful artistic solution that influenced Islamic art for centuries. Homes and palaces revealed another side of Syrian artistry. Courtyard houses offered privacy and coolness in hot climates, with fountains, tiled floors, and carved wooden doors. These designs were not luxuries, they were intelligent responses to environment and culture, blending comfort with aesthetics. Syrian craftsmanship extended beyond buildings. Woodwork, metal engraving, textiles, and ceramics flourished in workshops across cities like Damascus and Aleppo. Damascus steel became legendary, prized for both beauty and strength. Patterns traveled along trade routes, spreading Syrian design across continents. What makes Syria's artistic heritage exceptional is its resilience. Even after destruction, rebuilding followed ancient principles. Stones were reassembled, arches restored, and designs remembered. Art was not disposable, it was identity. Architecture also reflected coexistence. Mosques stood near churches, markets near synagogues. Styles overlapped without erasing one another. This visual harmony mirrored daily life, where diversity was normal, not exceptional. Today, despite damage and loss, Syria's artistic soul endures. Every surviving wall, mosaic, and arch carries memory. They remind the world that creativity can outlast conflict and beauty can resist erasure. Hama and the ancient Norias focus on water wheels, river life, engineering brilliance, and harmony between humans and nature. Emphasize rhythm, sound, movement, and how water shaped Syrian civilization. What if the world civilizations didn't just meet through war, but through trade, through hands exchanging goods, languages blending in markets, and ideas traveling farther than any army ever could? In this chapter, we uncover Syria's role as one of history's greatest crossroads, where commerce became culture and movement created civilization. Syria's location made it inevitable. Positioned between Asia, Africa, and Europe, this land sat at the center of ancient trade networks. Long before modern borders, merchants crossed Syria carrying silk from the east, spices from the south, metals from the north, and ideas from everywhere. Every road led through Syrian cities, turning them into engines of global exchange. Caravan routes cut across deserts and valleys, linking Mesopotamia to the Mediterranean Sea. Camels moved slowly but steadily, carrying precious cargo across vast distances. Along these routes, caravanserais emerged fortified inns, offering rest, water, and safety. These stops became meeting points where travelers shared news, stories, and beliefs, spreading knowledge alongside goods. Cities like Damascus, Aleppo, and Palmyra thrived because of trade. Markets buzzed with voices in many languages. Coins from distant empires changed hands. Fabrics, perfumes, glass, and metalwork filled stalls, turning commerce into spectacle. Trade was not hidden, it was celebrated, visible in architecture, public squares, and daily life. Damascus became famous for luxury goods, especially textiles. Damascus silk and brocade traveled to royal courts across Europe and Asia. The city's artisans perfected techniques passed down for generations, transforming raw materials into symbols of power and elegance. The word Damask itself carries Syria's legacy into modern language. Aleppo stood as another giant of commerce. Its massive covered markets protected traders from sun and rain, allowing business to continue year-round. These markets were more than economic centers. They were social spaces where cultures interacted naturally. A single walk through Aleppo's souks could take you across continents without leaving the city. Trade also fueled innovation. Exposure to foreign tools, ideas, and technologies pushed Syrian societies to adapt and improve. Mathematical concepts, medical knowledge, and engineering techniques flowed through Syria, refined by scholars before spreading onward. Libraries and learning centers grew alongside markets, proving that wealth and wisdom often traveled together. Religion moved through these same routes. Missionaries, pilgrims, and scholars followed trade paths, carrying belief systems into new lands. Syria became a transmitter of faith, where spiritual ideas were discussed in homes, inns, and marketplaces, rather than imposed by force alone. Language itself evolved through exchange. Aramaic became a common tongue because traders needed shared communication. Later, Greek and Arabic blended into daily life, leaving linguistic traces still visible today. Trade shaped how people spoke, wrote, and thought. Even conflict could not stop commerce for long. Empires rose and fell, borders shifted, and rulers changed, but trade adapted. When one route closed, another opened. When one city declined, another rose. Syria's economy survived because movement was part of its identity. Trade also created tolerance. Merchants depended on trust, cooperation, and reputation. Religious or cultural difference became secondary to reliability. This practical coexistence shaped Syrian society into one where diversity was familiar, not feared. As centuries passed, Syria's role as a crossroads left permanent marks on its people. Food incorporated flavors from distant lands. Clothing reflected blended styles. Music carried rhythms from multiple cultures. Everyday life became a living record of exchange. As this chapter comes to a close, one truth stands clear. Syria was not just a place people passed through. It was a place that transformed them. Trade turned Syria into a bridge between worlds, proving that connection, not isolation, is what truly moves history forward. Syria's natural beauty, mountains, valleys, deserts, and coastline. Explore diverse landscapes, from green hills to arid deserts and Mediterranean shores. Emphasize contrast, balance, and how nature shaped culture, trade, and survival. What if the true soul of a nation wasn't found in its monuments or maps, but in the rhythm of everyday life, in kitchens, courtyards, laughter, and rituals passed quietly from one generation to the next? In this chapter, we step into the living heart of Syria, its people, traditions, and the timeless patterns of daily life that have survived centuries of change. Syrian culture is built on continuity. While empires came and went, daily life followed a steady rhythm shaped by family, community, and shared values. Hospitality stands at the center of this rhythm. To be Syrian is to welcome. Guests are offered food before questions, comfort before conversation. A home is never closed to a visitor, and generosity is considered a matter of honor. Family forms the foundation of society. Multiple generations often live close together, sharing responsibilities and traditions. Elders are respected as keepers of memory, while children grow up surrounded by stories that connect them to their past. These stories are not written in books alone, they are spoken over meals, during evening gatherings, and in moments of quiet reflection. Food is one of Syria's strongest cultural languages. Meals are not rushed, they are shared experiences. Dishes like kibbeh, Flatbreads, lentils, olives, and spiced vegetables reflect both geography and history. Ingredients change from region to region, but the purpose remains the same: to bring people together. Cooking is an act of care, and recipes are family treasures. Markets play a vital role in daily life. Mosques are alive with color, sound, and movement. Vendors know their customers by name. Bargaining is not conflict, it is conversation. These markets are where news travels, relationships form, and community breathes. Even in modern times, the souk remains a social heart rather than just a place of trade. Music and poetry flow naturally through Syrian life. Traditional melodies echo ancient scales, carrying emotion rather than spectacle. Poetry is recited at gatherings, weddings, and quiet evenings alike. Words matter here. Language is expressive, layered, and deeply emotional, shaped by centuries of storytelling. Celebrations mark the passage of time. Weddings last for days, filled with music, dance, and shared joy. Religious holidays are moments of reflection and generosity, when families visit one another and help those in need. These occasions strengthen social bonds, reminding people that life is meant to be experienced together. Craft traditions remain deeply respected. From hand-woven textiles to carved wood and metalwork, craftsmanship is not just skill, it is identity. Many artisans learn from parents and grandparents, continuing techniques unchanged for generations. Each piece carries the imprint of human hands, not machines. Daily life also reflects resilience. Syrians have learned to adapt, rebuild, and endure. Humor remains present, even in hardship. Community support fills gaps where institutions fail. People rely on one another, not out of necessity alone, but out of tradition. What makes Syrian culture remarkable is its balance between change and preservation. Modern influences exist alongside ancient customs. Technology enters homes, but traditions remain intact. Progress does not replace identity, it coexists with it. As evening falls, families gather in courtyards and living rooms. Tea is poured. Conversations stretch into the night. Life slows, not because there is nothing to do, but because presence matters more than speed. As this chapter closes, one truth becomes clear. Syria's greatest treasure is not only its history, but its people, ordinary lives shaped by extraordinary continuity. In the next chapter, we will explore Syria's natural resilience and how its people and landscapes continue to endure against time, hardship, and change. Syrian traditions, cuisine, and daily life focus on hospitality, food, markets, crafts, music, and family life. Emphasize warmth, generosity, and how culture survives through people, not monuments. What if endurance itself were a form of beauty, not loud or dramatic, but quiet, patient, and unbreakable? In this chapter, we explore Syria's resilience, the ability of its land and its people to survive hardship, rebuild after loss, and carry memory forward when everything else seems to fall apart. Syria has faced more challenges than most lands on Earth. Empires invaded, cities were destroyed, earthquakes reshaped landscapes, and droughts tested survival. Yet again and again, life returned. Fields were replanted, homes were rebuilt. Stories continued. Resilience here is not an exception, it is a tradition. Nature itself reflects this endurance. The Syrian landscape is shaped by extremes: deserts that demand adaptation, rivers that offer renewal, mountains that provide shelter. These environments taught people how to survive with limited resources, how to value water, shade, and cooperation. Survival was never individual, it was collective. Throughout history, when cities fell, villages absorbed refugees. When trade routes collapsed, communities turned inward and sustained themselves. This flexibility allowed Syrian society to bend without breaking. Strength came not from power, but from persistence. Earthquakes have repeatedly struck Syrian cities, leveling stone and shaking foundations. Each time, buildings rose again, often using the same stones, rearranged, reused, remembered. Architecture became a symbol of continuity rather than permanence. What mattered was not that things lasted forever, but that they could be rebuilt. War tested resilience in its harshest form. Armies passed through Syria for centuries, leaving scars on land and people alike. Yet cultural identity survived. Languages evolved, but did not disappear. Faith adapted but endured. Traditions adjusted without losing meaning. Even in times of violence, everyday life found ways to continue. The Syrian people developed an extraordinary relationship with memory. History is not distant here, it is personal. Ruins are not symbols of failure, but reminders of survival. Children grow up knowing that what stands today is built on what stood before. This awareness creates humility, patience, and depth. Community plays a crucial role in resilience. Neighbors support one another during hardship. Families share resources. Social bonds replace formal systems when those systems collapse. Trust becomes currency, and cooperation becomes survival. Art and storytelling serve as tools of endurance. Music, poetry, and oral history preserve identity when written records are lost. Songs carry emotion across generations. Stories explain suffering without glorifying it. Creativity becomes a way to process loss and protect humanity. Resilience is also visible in daily choices. Farmers continue to plant even when harvests are uncertain. Shopkeepers open stalls despite instability. Parents invest in education, believing in a future they may not see. These quiet acts carry more strength than any monument. Syria's resilience is not about denying pain. It is about acknowledging it and moving forward anyway. Loss is remembered, but it does not define the future. Hope is not naive here. It is disciplined, practiced, and deeply rooted. Even today, amid challenges, life persists. Children play in courtyards. Markets reopen. Traditions continue. The rhythm of daily life refuses to disappear, proving that resilience is not an abstract concept, it is lived every day. A reflective conclusion on Syria's identity, resilience, and timeless spirit. Connect past, present, and future. Emphasize hope, memory, and the idea that Syria is more than headlines. It is a living story, carried by land and people. History is often written in grand events, epic battles, and the rise and fall of empires. Yet sometimes, the most profound stories are found in the legacy left behind, the lessons, the culture, and the spirit of a land that has witnessed millennia of human endeavor. We explore Syria's enduring legacy and what it teaches us about humanity, resilience, and the power of memory. Syria is more than a country. It is a storybook of civilization. From the earliest cities along the Euphrates to the bustling markets of Damascus, every stone, every artifact, every tradition carries a message from the past. These remnants are not relics frozen in time. They are lessons for the present and guidance for the future. The legacy of Syria is the realization that human achievement is layered, built not just by rulers or conquerors, but by everyday lives sustained across generations. Take Palmyra, for instance. Once a desert oasis at the crossroads of trade, it connected empires and cultures through commerce and ideas. Its monumental arches, temples, and streets tell a story of ambition and cultural fusion. Palmyra was not merely a city of wealth. It was a city of dialogue, where different traditions and peoples interacted and coexisted. Its legacy teaches us that human connectivity, sharing knowledge, goods, and culture, is as valuable as power or conquest. Similarly, the ancient citadel of Aleppo embodies endurance. Though battered by centuries of war, earthquakes, and occupation, it stands today as a symbol of resilience. Aleppo reminds us that human spirit can survive even the harshest trials. Preservation of knowledge, culture, and identity is possible even in the face of destruction. Syria's cities are proof that resilience is not temporary. It is cultivated over generations and passed down as an inheritance. Syria's religious and cultural heritage further enriches this legacy. Sacred sites like the Umayyad Mosque, Christian monasteries in Ma'alula, and countless shrines scattered across the land reflect coexistence, adaptation, and layered history. These spaces demonstrate that diversity can endure when nurtured with respect, understanding, and shared human values. Across centuries, Syria became a testament to spiritual and cultural pluralism, proving that faith and identity are both strong and flexible. Even its natural landscapes contribute to Syria's enduring message. The deserts, mountains, and rivers are not mere scenery. They shaped how civilizations adapted, survived, and thrived. The Euphrates provided life and sustenance, while the mountains offered refuge and isolation when needed. The land taught its people patience, ingenuity, and respect for the forces that govern existence. Human survival and progress, in Syria's case, were always intertwined with the environment. A lesson about balance that remains vital today. Education and knowledge were equally central to Syria's legacy. Ancient libraries, schools, and centers of learning flourished alongside marketplaces. Mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and literature were cultivated and transmitted across empires. Syrian scholars were both preservers and innovators, ensuring that the intellectual wealth of humanity could survive even when political power shifted. The message is clear. Knowledge is more permanent than conquest. Ideas outlive armies. Syria's legacy also lies in its people, the farmers, artisans, merchants, and storytellers, who passed down traditions, skills, and memories. They remind us that civilizations are not only built by leaders or empires, but by ordinary lives, lived with care, purpose, and continuity. It is the daily choices of ordinary people to rebuild, to teach, to create, to share that sustain a culture across millennia. Today, as the country faces unprecedented challenges, this legacy is more important than ever. Syria's history, culture, and spirit offer lessons to the world. Resilience matters, diversity strengthens, knowledge endures, and human creativity can transcend even the darkest times. Each ruin, mosque, and marketplace is not merely a remnant, it is a teacher, a storyteller, and a bridge between past and future. We are reminded that Syria is not merely a memory. Its influence flows through civilization, informing art, religion, architecture, and culture across continents. From ancient empires to modern societies, Syria's contributions ripple outward, visible in ways often unnoticed, but deeply impactful. We will explore Syria's global influence, how its culture shapes civilizations far beyond its borders, and why its story remains relevant for humanity today. This is the story of a land that endured, inspired, and continues to teach, a land where history is not only remembered, but lived. History is rarely a straight line. Syria's legacy is not contained in a single era or empire. It is a mosaic, a tapestry woven with countless threads of human experience, creativity, and endurance. In this continuation of our final chapter, we delve deeper into Syria's influence beyond its borders, its lessons for the modern world, and why its story resonates across centuries and continents. Syria has long been a bridge geographically, culturally, and intellectually. Trade routes like the Silk Road and caravan paths through the Syrian desert carried goods, ideas, and technologies far beyond the region. Merchants traveling from Damascus or Aleppo introduced spices, textiles, and precious metals to distant lands, but equally important were the knowledge and cultural practices they shared along the way. Mathematics, astronomy, medicine, philosophy, these disciplines flourished in Syria and traveled with its people, leaving enduring marks on the wider world. Religious and spiritual influence followed a similar path. The early Christian communities in Syria spread teachings that would reach Europe and beyond, while Islamic scholars contributed to a golden age of learning that affected science, medicine, and philosophy globally. The Umayyad Caliphate, with Damascus as its capital, was a hub of intellectual and cultural exchange, proving that power can be meaningful when it supports knowledge, art, and social cohesion. Syria's contribution to global civilization is not just in artifacts, but in the ideas that continue to shape humanity today. Artistic influence also extended far beyond Syrian soil. Palmyrene columns, mosaics, and architectural techniques were studied and replicated across empires. Aleppo's crafts, from textiles to metalwork, traveled on trade networks, inspiring artisans in Europe, North Africa, and Asia. Even musical traditions and poetic forms from Syria filtered through cultural exchanges, blending with local styles to create new expressions. The country's creative footprint stretches far and wide, quietly shaping global culture. But Syria's greatest lesson is not found in its monuments, scholars, or markets alone, it is in its resilience. Civilizations rise and fall, cities are destroyed, and dynasties crumble. Yet the essence of Syria endures. Its people adapt, rebuild, and preserve memory through language, tradition, and culture. This resilience is a template for humanity. Survival is not just about strength, it is about continuity, adaptation, and the ability to transform adversity into opportunity. Consider the enduring traditions of Syrian families, where knowledge, faith, and customs are passed down generations. These daily practices, cooking, storytelling, religious rituals, music, and art, are as much a part of Syria's legacy as its monuments. They demonstrate that civilization is not solely built by rulers or armies, but by ordinary people who choose to preserve life, culture, and memory, even in times of turmoil. Syria's natural landscapes also leave an indelible mark on its legacy. The Euphrates nourished civilizations, the deserts taught survival and navigation, and the mountains offered sanctuary. Geography shaped identity, guiding settlement, patterns, architectural innovation, and social organization. These lessons remain relevant today. Human ingenuity thrives when harmonized with nature rather than in conflict with it. Even in the modern era, Syria continues to teach the world about endurance and hope. Despite ongoing conflict and devastation, cultural practices, historical memory, and community resilience persist. Artists, scholars, and ordinary citizens work tirelessly to preserve language, music, and art, proving that heritage can survive even amid destruction. Syria's story reminds us that a civilization is measured not only by what it builds, but by what it preserves, shares, and passes to the future. The lessons of Syria are universal. They speak to the power of connection over isolation, knowledge over conquest, and resilience over despair. They remind us that diversity is strength, that heritage matters, and that even in the face of immense challenges, humanity can endure and inspire. As we prepare to conclude this journey, one truth becomes abundantly clear. Syria's legacy is living. It continues to shape civilizations, influence cultures, and guide the human spirit. In the final part of this chapter, we will reflect on the enduring message of Syria, a message of hope, resilience, and the timeless power of human achievement that transcends borders, generations, and time itself. We confront perhaps the most profound aspect of its legacy, the enduring spirit of a nation that has been a crossroads of civilizations, a crucible of ideas, and a home to human resilience for thousands of years. Syria's story is not confined to the past. It continues to teach, inspire, and resonate across the world today. Syria's influence can be seen not just in monuments or cities, but in the way human civilization has evolved. Its cities were hubs where merchants, scholars, and artists converged. Damascus, one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities on Earth, became a center of learning, commerce, and diplomacy. It was here that cultures met, merged, and innovated, creating systems of governance, trade, and scholarship that influenced neighboring regions and distant empires alike. Aleppo's markets, Palmyra's grand avenues, and Hom's architectural ingenuity were not isolated achievements. They were integral threads in the fabric of global history. Trade, religion, and art flowed through Syria like lifeblood. The Silk Road brought not only goods, but ideas, mathematical principles, medical knowledge, philosophical thought, and artistic techniques. Religious traditions, whether Christian, Jewish, or Islamic, flourished side by side, creating a mosaic of belief and practice that nurtured tolerance and dialogue. Syria's intellectual contributions became part of the foundation for the wider Islamic Golden Age, influencing philosophy, science, and literature far beyond its borders. Yet perhaps Syria's most remarkable legacy is the persistence of culture in the face of adversity. Earthquakes leveled cities, empires conquered lands, and modern conflicts threatened communities, but culture endured. Artisans continued to weave textiles, sculptors carved stone, and musicians preserved melodies. Oral traditions carried knowledge from one generation to the next. Recipes, storytelling, rituals, and everyday practices preserved identity, even when physical structures were destroyed. This endurance teaches a critical lesson. Civilizations are not only defined by monuments, but by the lives, habits, and creativity of their people. Architecture, too, speaks of this layered history. The Umayyad Mosque in Damascus, built on the site of earlier Roman and Christian structures, symbolizes both continuity and transformation. Palmyra's colonnades and temples, once at the heart of trade networks, reflect the blending of local and imported styles. Cities and monuments are not mere stone. They are records of human aspiration, cooperation, and adaptation over centuries. Syria's landscapes have been just as influential. Rivers like the Euphrates shaped settlements, deserts honed survival skills, and mountains offered protection and continuity. Geography dictated culture, architecture, and even social organization. Understanding Syria's environment is essential to understanding its people, as the land and its inhabitants evolve together in a delicate balance of challenge and opportunity. Perhaps most importantly, Syria demonstrates that resilience is not passive. It is active, creative, and intentional. Communities rebuilt, scholars preserved knowledge, and traditions were maintained, ensuring that heritage could survive even in the darkest times. The Syrian story illustrates that endurance is both an individual and collective effort, rooted in creativity, memory, and the will to survive. Today, Syria's legacy continues to inspire. Its history is studied by scholars, its art admired by collectors, and its culture celebrated by communities worldwide. The world has learned from Syria's successes and failures alike, from its embrace of diversity to its lessons in adaptability. Syria reminds humanity that no matter how challenging circumstances may be, civilization can endure, knowledge can persist, and beauty can survive. We will reflect on Syria's ultimate message, that human achievement is measured not only by what we build, but by what we preserve, what we share, and how we inspire generations yet to come. Syria is a testament to the enduring power of culture, resilience, and the human spirit, a living story that continues to guide and teach the world. It is time to reflect on the ultimate message this extraordinary land offers to the world, a lesson written not only in stone and manuscript, but in the lives, spirit, and resilience of its people. Syria's story is not merely historical, it is timeless, extending far beyond borders, empires, or eras. And it is a testament to what humanity can achieve, endure, and preserve. Syria's legacy is a mosaic composed of countless lives, cultures, and ideas layered over thousands of years. From the earliest civilizations along the fertile banks of the Euphrates to the bustling medieval cities of Damascus, Aleppo, and Palmyra, each era contributed to a shared identity, a cultural memory that transcends the passage of time. Syria teaches us that history is not only written in grand monuments, but also in ordinary acts, the artisans shaping clay and metal, the merchants trading goods and knowledge, the families preserving traditions across generations. One of Syria's most remarkable lessons is the power of coexistence. For centuries, people of diverse faiths and cultures lived in proximity, exchanging ideas, customs, and innovations. Pagan temples, Christian churches, and Islamic mosques often shared the same city, sometimes even the same structure, reflecting a capacity for harmony that has few parallels in world history. This coexistence was not always perfect, yet it demonstrated that diversity can be an engine of cultural richness rather than conflict, a lesson urgently relevant in today's globalized world. The influence of Syria extends far beyond its geographic boundaries. Syrian scholars, poets, and artists shaped civilizations across continents. From medicine and mathematics to literature and philosophy, the intellectual heritage nurtured here traveled along trade routes and through conquest, leaving an imprint on Europe, Asia, and North Africa. Syrian artistic traditions, from mosaic making to textile production, became templates for creativity in distant lands. In essence, Syria's contributions were global, reinforcing the idea that a nation's true power lies not only in its land, but in the ideas, art, and knowledge it shares with humanity. Resilience is woven into the fabric of Syrian society. Despite invasions, natural disasters, and the tragedies of modern conflict, communities have endured, rebuilt, and preserved their culture. Ruins like those of Palmyra or Aleppo's citadel are reminders that destruction does not equal erasure. Human determination, cultural continuity, and shared memory ensure that even when cities fall, civilization survives. Syria teaches that resilience is not just survival, it is the capacity to rebuild, to adapt, and to pass knowledge and values to future generations. Syria's landscapes tell stories as powerful as its monuments. The Euphrates nourished early settlements, while deserts forced innovation and adaptation. Mountains offered refuge and isolation, shaping communities and their way of life. The relationship between Syrians and their land is an essential part of their legacy, a lesson in how human ingenuity and respect for nature can coexist and how environments shape identity over time. Perhaps the most inspiring element of Syria's story is its people. Ordinary lives, farmers, craftsmen, teachers, and storytellers form the heartbeat of the nation. Their daily choices, acts of creation, and dedication to preserving culture ensure that Syria's legacy is alive and not confined to history books. This reminds us that human achievement is cumulative, built by countless small contributions that, together, shape civilizations. As we conclude, Syria offers a profound truth. History is not only about what was conquered or built, but also about what endures, what is shared, and what inspires. Its cities, monuments, and cultural achievements speak across generations, teaching lessons of resilience, creativity, and coexistence. Syria shows us that even amidst adversity, civilization can thrive, memory can persist, and beauty can endure. In this final reflection, Syria emerges not just as a country or a collection of ruins, but as a symbol of humanity's capacity to survive, adapt, and inspire. It is a story of endurance, of connection, and of hope. A story that continues to teach the world, reminding us that the human spirit, when nurtured through knowledge, culture, and resilience, is truly timeless. Syria's legacy is living history, and its lessons are universal. Honor your past, preserve your culture, cherish diversity, and above all, endure. This is the story of a land that has seen everything, yet continues to shine, a story of Syria, eternal and unbroken. We arrive at the ultimate reflection, a meditation on what it truly means to endure, to create, and to leave a legacy that transcends time. Syria is more than geography or history. It is a living testament to human civilization, resilience, and the enduring power of culture. Its story is both a mirror and a guide, showing us what humanity can achieve, even in the face of immense challenges. Syria's contributions to the world are profound and enduring. From ancient trade routes connecting east and west to the bustling intellectual centers of Damascus and Aleppo, the region has been a conduit for knowledge, art, and innovation. It was here that ideas flowed freely, shaping mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and philosophy in ways that influenced not only the Islamic Golden Age, but also the development of global civilization. Syria's scholars were not just preservers of knowledge. They were innovators, adapting and improving on what they inherited, proving that progress is built on dialogue with the past. The architectural legacy of Syria is equally remarkable. Palmyra's monumental columns, the Umayyad mosque's intricate design, and Aleppo's enduring citadel are more than beautiful structures. They are records of human ambition, creativity, and adaptation. Each stone tells a story, each ruin speaks of resilience, and each restored monument becomes a bridge between past and present. Architecture here was not merely functional or decorative, it was an expression of identity, belief, and continuity. Syria's cultural resilience extends beyond monuments to its people and daily life. Families, artisans, and communities have safeguarded traditions, music, art, and oral histories across generations. Even in times of conflict and displacement, these practices have endured, proving that culture is not easily destroyed. This is one of Syria's greatest lessons. Human creativity and heritage persist not only in grand achievements, but in the choices and practices of ordinary people. Trade and commerce also left a lasting mark. Syria's cities served as hubs of exchange, where goods, ideas, and cultures mingled. From Aleppo's famed souks to Palmyra's caravan routes, commerce became a medium for learning, collaboration, and cultural fusion. Through trade, Syria's influence spread far beyond its borders, impacting economies, art, and social structures across continents. This reminds us that connectivity, the flow of ideas and goods, is as critical to civilization as conquest or empire. The natural environment of Syria has shaped its civilization as profoundly as its human inhabitants. Rivers like the Euphrates provided life and nourishment. Deserts honed resilience and adaptability. Mountains offered refuge and perspective. This relationship between humans and the land demonstrates that survival and prosperity are not achieved by domination alone, but by understanding, respecting, and adapting to the environment. Syria's story is also one of coexistence. Across centuries, diverse religious and cultural communities lived, worked, and learned together. Pagan temples, churches, and mosques often coexisted in close proximity, reflecting a capacity for tolerance, dialogue, and shared humanity. In a world often divided by difference, Syria's history offers a powerful lesson that diversity is a source of strength, creativity, and stability rather than a cause for conflict. Even amidst destruction and conflict, Syria's people embody perseverance. Communities rebuild homes, restore monuments, and keep traditions alive. Every act of reconstruction, every preserved story, and every continued practice is a testament to the human spirit's refusal to be extinguished. Resilience here is not passive. It is intentional, creative, and transformative. It teaches that the survival of culture, knowledge, and identity depends on collective effort, commitment, and courage. As we conclude this exploration, Syria emerges not merely as a country, but as a symbol of endurance, knowledge, and humanity's capacity to create lasting impact. Its legacy is a reminder that history is not measured solely by conquest, but by what survives, what inspires, and what is shared with future generations. The stories, art, architecture, and knowledge of Syria continue to ripple across time and space, shaping civilization in ways that are profound and enduring. Syria's final lesson is universal. Cherish your heritage, honor diversity, nurture creativity, and above all, endure. The land, its people, and their culture remind us that human civilization is built not just on power, but on resilience, wisdom, and the courage to preserve identity across generations. In every ruin, every melody, and every tradition, Syria whispers the eternal truth that even in the face of adversity, life, culture, and humanity endure. Syria is not only a story of the past, it is a living legacy, a teacher to the present, and a beacon for the future. A land where beauty, knowledge, and resilience remain unbroken, eternal, and inspiring to all of humanity. We uncover yet another layer of its profound legacy, the enduring inspiration it offers for the present and future. Syria is not only a repository of history, it is a living guide for humanity, showing us how culture, resilience, and knowledge can survive the trials of time, conflict, and change. Its story transcends geography, teaching lessons that apply far beyond its borders. One of Syria's most remarkable contributions is the continuity of knowledge. For centuries, its scholars, poets, and artisans nurtured ideas that would influence the world. The libraries of Damascus and Aleppo were more than collections of books. They were centers of intellectual exchange, where science, literature, philosophy, and art flourished side by side. Syrians valued knowledge not as an abstraction, but as a practical tool to improve life, strengthen communities, and connect cultures. The lessons preserved and transmitted here became a foundation for advances in mathematics, medicine, astronomy, and engineering, demonstrating that ideas can outlive empires and borders. Trade and cultural exchange amplified this legacy. Syria's strategic location at the crossroads of continents allowed ideas to travel as freely as goods. Merchants, pilgrims, and scholars brought new philosophies, technologies, and artistic styles, while carrying Syrian innovations outward. Palmyra, Damascus, and Aleppo were more than commercial hubs. They were incubators of culture, where interaction among diverse peoples sparked creativity, collaboration, and understanding. In this way, Syria became both a physical and intellectual bridge between East and West. Syria's architecture offers a tangible expression of this enduring legacy. From the arches of Palmyra to the Umayyad Mosque in Aleppo's citadel, every structure tells a story of adaptation, ingenuity, and artistry. These monuments are more than relics. They are lessons in design, resilience, and the power of human creativity. They remind us that beauty and function can coexist, and that human achievement is measured not only by ambition, but by endurance and adaptability. Even when destruction threatened these sites, efforts to restore and preserve them testify to the dedication of communities to maintain their heritage. The social and cultural fabric of Syria is equally remarkable. Generations of families have maintained traditions, language, music, and cuisine despite upheaval. Hospitality, respect for elders, and communal solidarity are not just customs. They are survival strategies and expressions of identity. Each meal shared, story told, and melody performed continues, a chain of memory that spans centuries. It is in these daily acts that Syria's resilience is most evident, not in monuments alone, but in the living culture of its people. Syria's natural environment has shaped its civilization as profoundly as human ingenuity. The Euphrates nurtured early settlements, deserts tested adaptability, and mountains offered refuge and security. Life here required innovation, patience, and respect for the land, lessons that remain essential today. Syria demonstrates that human progress and survival are inseparable from the environment, and that understanding the natural world is fundamental to sustaining civilization. The enduring spirit of Syria is also a story of hope. Despite wars, political upheaval, and natural disasters, the Syrian people have rebuilt, reimagined, and renewed their communities time and again. Artisans continue to craft, scholars continue to teach, and traditions continue to thrive. Each act of preservation, restoration, and innovation reinforces the idea that culture is not easily destroyed, and that the human spirit can endure even in the most challenging circumstances. Syria's global influence is undeniable. Its artistic styles, culinary traditions, intellectual contributions, and architectural techniques have left marks on countless civilizations. Even today, architects, artists, and scholars study Syrian examples to draw inspiration and understanding. Its legacy transcends borders, reminding us that cultural, intellectual achievements are a shared human heritage. In reflecting on all of Syria's lessons, one theme stands out: the power of resilience combined with knowledge and creativity. Syria shows us that even in the face of destruction, humanity can rebuild, innovate, and inspire. Its history is a testament to the endurance of culture, the importance of learning, and the value of connection. Syria teaches that the human spirit, when nurtured through art, knowledge, and community, is unbreakable. As this final segment concludes, Syria emerges as more than a country or a historical site. It is a symbol, a living reminder that civilization is built not only on conquest or empire, but on continuity, creativity, and human perseverance. Its lessons are timeless. Honor your heritage, cherish diversity, pursue knowledge, and above all, endure. Syria's story continues to resonate, guiding humanity with a message that is eternal, universal, and profoundly inspiring. Syria is a testament to the enduring power of culture, memory, and human resilience, a beacon of hope, a bridge across generations, and a timeless lesson in what it truly means to be human. As we reach the conclusion of our journey through Syria, it becomes clear that the story of this land is not just about what was built or conquered, but about what has endured and what continues to inspire the world today. Syria is a living chronicle of human civilization, a place where history, culture, and resilience converge in ways that teach us profound lessons about life, community, and the human spirit. Syria's greatest legacy is perhaps its ability to endure. For thousands of years, this land has faced invasions, earthquakes, political upheavals, and natural disasters, yet life persisted. Cities were rebuilt, culture survived, and traditions continued to flourish. From the bustling streets of Damascus to the ancient ruins of Palmyra, Each stone tells a story of survival, adaptation, and human determination. Syria demonstrates that civilizations are not defined solely by their power or wealth, but by their capacity to preserve knowledge, culture, and identity through adversity. The richness of Syria's heritage is evident in its art, architecture, and literature. The mosaics of Palmyra, the columns of Palmyra, the Umayyad Mosque in Damascus, these are not just monuments. They are lessons in innovation, artistry, and cultural fusion. They reflect the creativity of countless generations who shaped this land with vision, skill, and dedication. Syrian artisans, scholars, and builders passed down techniques and knowledge that influenced civilizations far beyond the region. In every corner of Syria, the legacy of human achievement whispers across time, inviting us to learn, reflect, and be inspired. Syria's influence also extends through its intellectual contributions. For centuries, it was a center of scholarship, science, and philosophy. Syrian scholars preserved ancient texts, developed medical knowledge, advanced mathematics and astronomy, and nurtured philosophical thought. These ideas traveled across continents, leaving an indelible mark on European, Middle Eastern, and Asian civilizations. Syria reminds us that the pursuit of knowledge is one of humanity's most enduring achievements, one that outlasts borders, conflicts, and empires. Equally remarkable is Syria's resilience in everyday life. Beyond monuments and scholarship, ordinary Syrians have sustained culture through the generations. Families maintain culinary traditions, music, storytelling, and crafts, often passing these down despite hardship. Communities rebuild homes, restore monuments, and keep marketplaces alive. This daily perseverance is a living testament to the human spirit. It is in these acts that civilization truly survives, long after empires rise and fall. The land itself has shaped Syria's resilience. The fertile banks of the Euphrates, the rugged mountains, and the arid deserts taught survival, patience, and innovation. Geography forced people to adapt and to find harmony with their environment. Syria's natural landscape is not only breathtakingly beautiful, but it also conveys lessons about balance, resourcefulness, and coexistence with nature principles that are more relevant today than ever. Syria's story is also one of coexistence. For centuries, diverse communities of different faiths, languages, and traditions lived side by side. Pagan, Christian, and Islamic sites coexisted in close proximity. This pluralism created a vibrant cultural mosaic where diversity was a source of creativity, learning, and strength. In a world often divided, Syria's history reminds us that respect, dialogue, and shared humanity are foundational to lasting civilizations. Even in the face of modern challenges, Syria continues to inspire hope. Artists, educators, and ordinary citizens preserve culture and knowledge. Restoration projects, cultural initiatives, and community efforts demonstrate that heritage is not lost. It is protected and revitalized. Every melody sung, every story told, every monument restored carries the message that life, culture, and civilization endure even amid the harshest trials. Ultimately, Syria's legacy is universal. It teaches the world that civilization is built not only on power or wealth, but on resilience, creativity, knowledge, and the ability to endure. Syria's story reminds us that heritage is both fragile and eternal, that human spirit can survive devastation, and that beauty and culture are among the most enduring achievements of humankind. As we conclude this journey, one truth shines clearly. Syria is not just a land of ruins or relics, but a living testament to human endurance, ingenuity, and inspiration. It is a beacon for all generations, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, humanity can preserve, create, and inspire. Syria's voice echoes across time, teaching, guiding, and encouraging us to honor the past, embrace resilience, and carry forward the legacy of a civilization that has endured, flourished, and continues to shine. Syria is eternal. Its stories, its culture, and its spirit endure. And for anyone willing to see, listen, and learn, it offers lessons that are timeless, profound, and profoundly human. As our journey through Syria comes to an end, one thing becomes clear. This is a land where the past is never forgotten, where culture endures, and where the human spirit continues to shine against all odds. From the timeless ruins of Palmyra to the vibrant streets of Damascus, Syria has taught us that true legacy is measured not by conquest, but by resilience, knowledge, and the ability to inspire generations. Every monument, every story, every tradition we've explored is a reminder that civilization is built not only on achievements, but on the courage to preserve and pass them forward. Syria's influence stretches far beyond its borders in art, in architecture, in music, and in the very essence of human creativity. So, as we leave this extraordinary land, take with you the lessons of Syria. Honor your heritage, cherish diversity, embrace resilience, and never underestimate the enduring power of culture and human spirit. Syria is eternal, a beacon of hope, a testament to humanity, and a story that will continue to inspire the world for generations to come. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed exploring Prague as much as I enjoyed guiding you through it. If you found this travel guide helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more beautiful destinations from around the world. Got a favorite spot in Prague? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, safe travels and see you in the next video.